Hello, welcome to episode 3 of Be Dangerous Again, and we're very, very lucky to have Stuart with us today. Stuart is 68 years old, still competes at weightlifting and has won over 20 British senior weightlifting...
Masters.
Masters. Olympic weightlifting.
That's it.
Yeah. I remember the insistence on that.
Yeah. Well, they've got to
and the veiled threats.
Right.
Ask away. So, what we're basically doing, and as everybody knows that's watched the channel before, is to inspire guys 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s. You're 68-year-old now, you're still competing. What motivates you to keep going? And also, could you tell us what the serious injury you came back from? Because you could have used that as an excuse to say, I'll never train again.
Yeah, well the big problem is that if you give in and give up, you'll never carry on training at all, and then you gradually decline. So when I tore my shoulder in a competition in Dublin, when I was 58 years old, I had to have a major operation on my shoulder. I'd already been lifting since when I was 58 from 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And I was told, like I said, that I'd never lift again. So I carried on training after a big rehabilitation which took 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that I had to get back into training because I could feel my metabolism slowing down, which is also a big problem as you get older. It slows down naturally anyway, and you put weight on gradually as you get older.
Yeah.
So I started training again, well, kept training again as soon as I came out of the hospital with very small weights and gradually built it up. And I'm lifting, as you know, I've been lifting since 58 to 68 and still winning British Championships.
Yeah, sure. And when you go into the gym, because you've obviously been training since the age of 20 now for almost 50 years, and things have evolved and things have trained and people have tried to overcomplicate things. What do you think when you go into the average gym and see the average people training or supposedly training?
Yeah.
Like the Lycra boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lycra boys.
Yeah.
Well, the big problem is that, like most teenagers, late teenagers, they want to have big arms for when they're going out.
Yeah.
So the big problem
really
is
interesting that if you say to somebody, show me, don't know where this came from, show me your muscles,
Yeah.
the first thing they do is they do a bicep.
Yeah.
No one ever like lifts up their t-shirt and goes, look at my abs.
No.
Yeah.
They don't, do they?
No.
I have no idea why biceps and...
I'll drop the pants and say, look at my legs.
But you're known for doing that in the gym.
Because the gyms that I've trained in, a lot of the hardcore gyms,
Yes.
there's a lot of bodybuilders, powerlifters, strong men, as well as Olympic lifters.
Yeah.
And obviously when the bodybuilders are checking what the physique look like, they're showing the legs. So just to show them that Olympic lifters' legs are good as well, I always used to, what do you think of them then?
Because you actually did a really good analogy when we was chatting earlier on, getting to know each other, about how Olympic lifting is all weights, is all legs, I beg your pardon, and squatting is really important for raising testosterone levels.
It is, yeah.
Which, if we tie this in with this metabolism slowing down, I think is an important thing for you to just kind of build on for a minute or two here with us, so people who are watching go like, well, I never thought of doing squats.
Yeah. Well, the big problem is that if you don't do squats, you don't want to do squats, because the first time you do them, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Because what's the biggest muscles in your body? Your thigh and your ass. And your smaller muscles are your shoulders and your biceps. And you've got to train quite a few times to get used to doing squats. But once you get used to doing them, it is really beneficial, because like you say, and like we were saying earlier, it produces testosterone. If you have a heavy squat session, like gradually after you're built up to doing heavy squats, when you go home and go to sleep, your body is compensating for you doing heavy squat session by producing more testosterone.
Which makes you feel better about yourself.
Yeah. It makes you feel good. Yeah.
Raises your sex drive.
Yeah, but not only that, it'll increase everything on your body. Not, you know, these guys are just doing biceps, curls, bench press. If they want to get bigger up there, they've got to do legs as well.
And I think that is missed out. I spoke about Tom and Jerry Hanna-Barbera bulldog that looks amazing up here, but have the little legs that kind of behind. And we see this now I see it quite a lot in gyms that we go into.
But the big problem with the gyms is they go get a personal trainer a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And the training that they do is all like advanced training that you do when you've been training for say 5 or 6 years. It's not the basics. The basics are squats, front squat, back squat, bench press, deadlift.
Yes.
That's the basics.
And you can build a top quality physique.
And you can do, and always at the end of the session do some abs.
Yeah.
Every session you must do abs. You're not going to do your abs to get a good six pack. You're doing abs to keep your back strong, because it's the opposite side to your back.
So if you're an older guy that's either never trained ever before or going to go back into the gym, what would you say? Maybe go twice a week and just concentrate on the basics, something that just to get moving again. And that would be it. So twice a week, say 30, 45 minutes, basics, just move again.
Yeah, you have to do twice a week, because if you only do once a week, what you did the first week, you're going to do the second week. You're never going to advance.
Sure.
You've got to start on twice a week. Once you've got used to doing twice a week, say, depending how bad they were to start with, say 3 months later, start doing 3 times a week, because you'll find that the advances they make after that are incredible. Yeah,
and the other thing, Stuart, before I forget, that I thought was absolutely amazing, is the age of the guys that are still competing at doing Olympic weightlifting. You were saying the guys over 80 years old that are still doing this.
That's right, and you've got to remember that Olympic lifting is lifting weights above your head.
Yeah.
Now there's these guys that are over 80, they're lifting weights above the head. Granted, they can't lock their arms out like you're supposed to do, but they're allowed that difference in the competition because of their age. But they're holding weights above the head.
Yeah.
Most people 80-year-old can't even put their arms above their head. Never mind hold the weight above their head.
I've seen like at nursing homes, like in my previous job as a community services manager, guys, literally, he's 76 now, and he sat there, and he's got like a tin of beans, and he's going,
that's right.
And you're thinking that's exactly it, he's seized up, and you're just thinking...
Because he's given up, his muscles have withered away, and that's the big problem, you let everything wither away.
And as you said, these guys that are competing over 80, it shows right till the very day you die, you can work around injuries, you can train, and you can still have muscle mass, strength, everything.
You don't need to be lifting a lot, it's just keeping that flexibility.
Yeah, keep it going.
But at that age, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're competing, so they're trying to lift more than the average 80-year-old, but I mean, 80... Well, the gym that I go to, there's a lot of guys go swimming in the morning, and some of them are over 80, but they go, 3 times a week swimming.
Yeah.
And that's bringing your arms into it again, isn't it? It's everything, legs and arms.
And it all comes down again, it's to motivation, isn't it? It's getting off your arse and doing it, and just realising that when you start this, if you're not sore, if you don't have some delayed onset of muscle stiffness, it doesn't have to be so you just can't move. It can be that you're going to be a bit sore, but then when you weight train again a couple of days after that, 3 or 4 days after that, it'll ease in again, and it'll ease in, and you increase your weights, and increase the range of movements that you're doing.
Well, your body gets used to being sore, doesn't it, anyway? Every time you train, you might come away and think, oh, my legs are aching a little bit. But your body's used to that because you've kept up to it and you've done it forever.
And you must get asked by people the whole time, especially when you come across older people, oh, why do you still do it? Why don't you take life easy? Why don't you wind down? Why do you keep doing it? Why?
Well, just to keep young.
Basically. That's my secret.
I mean, I used to before I hurt my shoulder, I used to beating the young ones at Olympic lifting.
Sure.
When I were, up to 58-year-old, I could still beat guys that were 30-year-old.
Okay.
And things like that. It were an ego trip. You know what I mean? And since I've had the shoulder injury, I can't lift as much, but I continue lifting because I enjoy it.
Yeah, and the thing with you as Will Stuart, you're one of these people.
Feel good.
Yeah, and you've given back to the sport. You've coached people. You referee. You've done that.
Yeah.
You've coached a British champion. You referee at the British Championships.
Yeah. Well, I've coached more than one British champion.
Okay.
A male and a female.
Oh, okay.
As you know, one in powerlifting.
Yeah.
And one in Olympic lifting, and then I've coached several people that have won Scottish titles as well. So, and the majority of them, apart from a couple of them, are over 40-year-old.
Okay.
So, the proof is in the pudding that they want to keep going and keep young.
Sure, sure.
Because a lot of these people say, oh, you don't look that old when they tell them how old they are. And that's because they keep going to the gym. But the big problem is if you get into a rut, say you're at home, you think you're old and you're not working anymore, you've got to force yourself to go to a gym. And you've got to remember when you go to a gym, what you do in a gym, nobody's interested in.
Yeah, yeah.
They think that everybody's looking at them and they're not doing enough weight.
It's a good point.
Yeah,
It's a really good point. Yeah.
And so you've got to go to that gym and you've got to just kind of put blinkers on and do your own thing. But make sure it's just basic exercises.
Yeah,
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. And you'll gradually, if you force yourself to go regular, you'll gradually find that you're gradually improving, and then you'll feel better about yourself. You'll gradually get talking to other people, so you're not just sat at home. It's like a social thing as well, which is really important. So you're meeting people as well, because, and then when they find out how old you are, they're saying, oh, that's very good, you're doing well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, like for myself, because I'm 60 now, I think one of the things I like as a kind of unintended consequence of me still training is the fact that I often get young men coming up to me who are like 35, 36, and they're feeling old at 35, 36 in a society that is worshipping youth more and more. Do you know what I mean? I've got friends that are like 24, they've gone to nightclubs. Put some Slade on, lad. They're going to nightclubs and they're going, I feel like a childminder. You know, so they get to 35, 36, and what they're saying to me is they're going like, oh, you know, sometimes I feel a little bit, I'm old now, I'm coming towards 40, oh my God, my life's over. And then I look at you and you're still training like nearly 30 times a month, you're still working, you're still teaching as well as having a full-time job. And it's inspirational, and that's what these men, they're going to be men sat there right now who are going to go, I'm going to get off my ass, I'm going to go into the gym, I'm going to start training, and they're going to go through, like you said, the initial thing of feeling self-confident, having no self-confidence, and then starting to work in, getting stronger. People are saying, well, he's here 2-3 times every week, he's working away.
That's what people notice.
Picks up, Then the back starts to straighten, the chest starts, you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden...
It's like with the Olympic lifting, when I say, we're going to go to a competition because you're lifting reasonable weights now. Oh, I'm not good enough. I says, well, you are good enough because I've given you a good technique. And what happens is when you go to a competition, they'll say, oh, do you remember that lifter who had a really good technique? Oh yeah, what did he lift? Oh, I don't know, but he had a really good technique. So they're not bothered what weight they're lifting.
Yeah, sure.
Because they've trained for a good technique. That's what they notice. So you've not got to be self-conscious.
Yeah, and I think that is something that I find when I speak to like people my kind of age, maybe even like school chums or something like that, and they say like, well, you know, I'm too old for it now, and I'm going like, no, you're not, but I don't want to go, I don't know anything, it's all young kids.
Yeah, well, it's a famous saying, isn't it? You're never too old.
Yeah, and I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So any last words of wisdom, one thing you want to say?
Well, just give it a bash.
Just give it a bash.
Give it a bash. Give it a try, and don't worry about if you go to a gym and there's loads of young lads shouting and pushing and you know, just let them get on with that, and you do your own thing, like I say, and just build up your own confidence gradually. Yeah,
that's good advice, because as we hear the whole time, most guys they're basically scared to take. But once
they feel intimidated if they're not careful.
But once they get through that gym door and just get started, get started.
Yeah. Because when I started, I weighed 8.5 stone and went to the gym, and there were all these great big guys, you know, at least minimum 12 stone. You know, and I just ignored them and trained. And
would you like to see, hopefully yourself, you'd like to see yourself competing in the over 80s way in the future?
Yeah, I would. My aim might not be possible. It depends on my shoulder long term, but would be to be the oldest lifter in Britain.
Oh, okay.
That'd be nice.
It'd be good, wouldn't it?
That'd be a great time.
But whether I get there or not, but I'll try.
There used to be a guy who ran the Spartan gym called Alec, and he used to do a lot of that. He's dead now. But he used to do
he did. Yeah.
Let's do that in his
I know what you mean. He was about 78 when he died, wasn't he?
Yeah. But he was a... He had
a lot to do with the Olympic Weightlifer.
Really quickly, I damaged my back doing some kind of ground fighting with heavier guys. to the point where to get out of bed, I had to kind of roll myself like this, drop my legs down, come up into like a squat position and pull up. And if I did any demonstration work when I was on the ground, I needed a couple of people to lift me up. I've been to a national health physiotherapist. I'd even tried a chiropractor. Nothing worked. I went to him and he just went, no, I can fix that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, how? And basically, he had me doing squats.
Yeah.
And then hanging.
Yeah.
Just hanging. It was a lower back injury. Then squats, and he just kept increasing. Within 2 weeks, my back was like brand new.
Yeah, well, it's building the muscle up round the injury.
Yeah.
Because there's a famous example of an ex-weightlifter in Russia who was getting people out of wheelchairs who've had back injuries.
Doing the same kind of idea.
Doing training around it,
Yeah. And I'd absolutely, so if you have a lower back problem or something like that and you think I can't do it, I mean, I genuinely thought my career was over. I mean, I was at a point where I was getting depressed, I was feeling down, and he just says, I can fix you. And it was just a blasé way he said it, I'll fix that.
I'll fix that. Just do it.
But within a week, I'm going like, you know, I'm actually getting mobility. I mean, I've still got problems. I mean, my flexibility's not great, but I've not had one of those moments where
sudden pain.
I can't move.
Let's just say it's the chicken and egg. You say, "Oh, I've got a sore back, so I can't go to the gym." But that's when you should go to the gym.
Well, that's when you should train round the injury. You see, I get injuries every now and then because it's so explosive as Olympic lifting. But what I do is I always train around it. I always do other exercises around it so that I don't hurt the injury anymore. And then when it's better, because you're building the muscle around the injury, then when it's better, you carry on again.
Exactly. Yeah, because as you say, you can always find an excuse if you want to, but not. It's just,
It's just go.
Just go.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you, we're doing another one next week, aren't we? So, we'll see you next week. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks again.